I think England will win it like pretty easily. I'll say 25.
I thought it was going to be worse.
To be fair.
Yeah, Wales by 50.
Hello and welcome back to Scrum Believable. We're here for the Guinness Men's Six Nations. And joining me this week, we have one familiar face and a newbie to our studio. So first up, Ben from Counter-Ruck. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I love this. Flying the flag for Wales, loud and proud.
Got to be done. Someone's got to do it.
And then we have Andy, aka the Rugby North, who's also flying the flag for his home nation, Ireland. Andy, welcome to
Thanks
Scrum
so much.
Believable.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I figured I may as well get the colours on debut. It has to be done.
I was going to say, I did just say, I was like, this is terrible for people who are colourblind.
Oh yeah, they've retired this, haven't they? Yeah.
I'm surprised we've not done a top swap. Now, you guys were there last weekend in Edinburgh for the Guinness Men's Six Nations launch. Did you have a good time?
We were sat down for a dinner, and then I see on the name card next to me it just said John. I was like, oh, that's strange. All of a sudden, John Barkley comes over and like sit next to me, and was like splitting the G with John Barkley. It was like came back. My dad just couldn't believe it.
What a line! Splitting the G with John Barkley.
It's the magic of the Six Nations, isn't it?
It really is. Who was your partner sat next to you, Andy?
We didn't have a legend on the table, but doing the Johnny Walker tour with Brian O'Driscoll was definitely, for an Ireland fan, that's pretty cool.
To be honest, it all sounds like a bit of a fever dream.
Yeah,
it was.
It was like every 10 minutes, it was like, how am I here? Like, this makes no sense.
And the other thing as well then, like the next day you're up at the crack of dawn, walking up to Edinburgh Castle, and you feel like you're walking into like Game of Thrones with like the fire pits and all sorts. Madness.
But the scale of it was, it properly set the stage for what I think is going to be a massive tournament. So perfect way to kick it off in style, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Did you meet the captains?
Yes, got to speak to them. Managed to interview all the captains and coaches, which was great. DuPont saying Cardiff was his favourite away day, which he just, as if I didn't love him enough already, that was perfect for me. So that was great.
Brilliant. Right. Well, enough of the launch chat. I think it's time to get into the rugby. Now, we're back for the Guinness Men's Six Nations, and we're going to be here every Tuesday, switching it up just a little bit, doing a review show of the previous weekend's fixtures and a sneak peek into the upcoming matches. Now, I think it's only right we start with the reigning champions, France, and take a look at their squad. And it's an interesting one because there's been a few curveballs thrown. We have 12 new faces in this squad, but the talk of the town has got to be everyone's absolute favourite rugby player is back in business, Anton DuPont. How excited are you guys to see him out there this Six Nations?
I can't wait for it. I mean, anytime you get to see the best player on the planet, I don't care what the debate is, any rankings, he is the best player on the planet. So to have him coming in, and I think one of the most exciting things about it is who they're pairing him with Jalabert at 10, which everyone's been debating, will it work, won't it work? I think when you have two great players like that, they'll make it work. And he's been one of the most informed 10s in the world right now. So to have him and pairing him with the creativity of DuPont, they're going to be lethal this year, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine it's not going to work in some way. Like, I wish DuPont's injury had just gone a little longer. I wish he wasn't there for Thursday night, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see him back. I think everybody is. Like, he is ridiculous.
He is ridiculous. He really, really is. And I think as well, it's so important for them to have him back because obviously their final fixture, there's many games to come before then, but it is that Super Saturday fixture against England. And there's been a lot of talk about England maybe having a chance this year, but with the likes of DuPont back, you've got to have some confidence in France, haven't you?
100%. I mean, and you look, when he's leading the charge, like I said, we've got a lot of new faces coming into that side. You need his experience and you need his creativity. In the big games, big-time players make big-time plays, and there's no one more big-time than Anton DuPont. So I think that game is going to be, like I said, Super Saturday. That's going to make it Super Saturday. That's going to be brilliant. I can't wait for it.
I'm still begging the producer for tickets to that. The jury's still out. Depends how good I do for this show. Yeah. And I suppose we've got to talk about France's form in the Quilter Nations series. They absolutely hammered Australia, but they did get beaten by the Springboks. Where do you think they are going into this championship, boys?
They conceded a lot of points against Australia too. I feel like that's something that's worth talking about. Like one of the big strengths of this French team has always been that defence. Like they used to be so difficult to play against, and Australia caught them out a few times on the counter. Like it was kind of un-French in the way we've gotten used to this team over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. So it's an interesting one. They were missing tons of players in November, right? You can't discount that. And they've got people back and the squad looks stronger and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're just going to pick up where they left off. But like, you just don't know. Like, they've got more than enough quality and they've got the right fixtures. So they should go on and win it, I think. But who knows? It's France.
And it shows the quality that's in that squad. You know, you look at the likes of iconic players and proper big game animals, Penno, Aldrit. You know, it shows the confidence they have. They're willing to leave them at home and then have these new faces come in. You know, you could see it with the likes of Mikel Gouillard coming in, and, you know, even iconic players like Fiku. They've got probably one of the best centre partnerships in the world right now with Mofana and Deporte, who's tearing it up for Bordeaux. So I think they're in a good place. And like I said, looking with the eyes onto the World Cup, I think they should be strong favourites going into this year.
Now, I also just want to speak about some of the fantasy MVPs. Now, Andy, we're going to be leaning on you heavily later as our little fantasy rugby expert. But a huge mention is obviously got to be had for LBB, Louis Biel-Barré. You don't want to get that acronym wrong. There's many different variations of those letters. But he is the reigning Guinness Player of the Championship. And he was also named in the Quilter Nation Series Team of the Series. He is a pretty incredible player, isn't he, guys?
I mean, he's electric. I mean, you know, the only Northern Hemisphere player to make those World Player of the Year final cut. And every time he gets the ball, you think it's a highlight waiting to happen. Something big is going to be happening. Yeah. I have a bad feeling he might be tearing up that Irish back line on Thursday.
The worst thing is, even if you manage to keep him quiet, it's probably going to be Atisogbe on the other wing. I've seen in the French press, and it's like, well, who do you mark? Like you said, Deporter and Mofana have been absolutely tearing it up with Bordeaux. Deporter was amazing in the Quilter Nation series as well. So it's like, how do you keep them locked down? And now that they've got that Bordeaux axis, when you've got Jalibert at 10, the two centres, one of the wingers, it's like they're so used to playing with each other. The combinations are so established. It's just so difficult to see how you stop them.
Would you say, so he's, I've got here on my notes, he's 15, his currency is 15 stars. Would you say he's worth putting in your fantasy team?
I mean, he was second highest scoring player in the game last year. So probably yes.
You'd be a fool not to. And we touched on there Bordeaux. Another mention is Cameron Waukee. Now, I don't suppose you saw that game against Northampton Saints.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. What? Hat-trick.
He was outrageous, wasn't he?
It just felt like everywhere you looked on the park, he's intercepted, he's tackling, so he was just everywhere. It felt like he was in 8 places at once. But it's top player. I think he could be really instrumental for that French side. I mean, he's just all round a top player, and he's been tearing up for Bordeaux. And that game, you know, Northampton, there was a lot of noise coming into that, and they silenced it immediately.
Says a lot about the quality France have got that he's not guaranteed to start.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
They've got so many good players in those positions. But yeah, I mean, he'd make my team for sure.
Amazing there. Right, well, it's now time to move on to their opponents. Ireland. How are you feeling? I mean, I know you've touched on it, but how are you feeling for this opening game out in Paris?
I should say, I'm not being overly negative. I never feel good going to Paris. Like, I don't think anyone ever should feel good going to Paris. It's one of the hardest places to go in the competition. But, you know, Ireland are in a bit of a transitional phase. I think it's fair to say, like, the number of caps in the squad compared to last year, it's much lower. You know, we're trying out some new players. So it's going to be really interesting. You don't have to go and win in Paris for it to be a good day out. Like, you have to go and put up a good performance, and some players have to put their hands up, and that's kind of all you need, especially, what are we, a year, 18 months out from a World Cup. So I'm intrigued. When we see the lineup, we'll see maybe some new faces, maybe some people have a chance to stake a claim to a position. And, you know, I think it's a big job to win, but that doesn't mean that there isn't loads on the table for Ireland and they can't go and impress us with a good performance, which I'm hoping for.
Not to put you on the spot, but if you were in Andy Farrell's shoes, the big question, that number 10 jersey, who are you giving it to for that big game in Paris?
I think it's so tough. I was listening to Ronan O'Gara and Dan Biggar talking about this yesterday, and even they can't agree. They know much better than I do. But, you know, the trade-off is like Prendergast, he's probably our best attacking 10. He probably suits our game plan best out of the 3 10s. Crowley is probably the best all-rounder. You know, he's a better defender. And then Harry Burns kind of come from nowhere. And because he's been consistent and the other two haven't been that consistent, suddenly Harry Burns in the conversation. So if it was me, gun to my head, I'd probably pick Crowley just because of the all-round game that he gives you, because he covers fullback as well, and Keenan might be out, so it might be good to have him in there so that you can switch him into fullback if you need to. But I think Farrell will go with Prendergast.
Yeah, I think he'll go with Prendergast, but I think that It's that clip from the La Rochelle Leinster game where it's, must win for the game, kick on the line, and what happens? Burn steps up and says, "No, Prendergast, I've got this one. I'll have it." So I think that's a lasting memory. I'd love to see Crowley get the nod, but I think Prendergast will be the one he'll go for.
Yeah.
What's an interesting one is who's on the bench as well, because if he has nudged himself ahead in terms of like who would you rely on to slot a pressure kick,
Exactly.
then that's the guy you want on the bench. You don't want someone that you don't trust. Like if you're in the game with 15 minutes to go and you need to make a change at 10, you want someone who's going to come on and nail their kicks. So maybe he's done enough, but I don't know. It feels like Prendergast is their preferred option.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever gets that spot, I tell you what, they've got the weight of Ireland on their shoulders to make sure they get the job done. Now, obviously, they're playing opening in Paris, but they've got 3 home games, which are Italy, Wales, and Scotland. But their 2 away games are probably the 2 toughest matches: England and France. Do you think this is actually a crucial factor in them being able to win this year's championship?
I think it's really tough. And you look at the trajectory Ireland are on, and even though the backbone of that squad is the backbone of a very successful Lions team, there's a lot of teams at the moment that are on that like upward trajectory. You look at Scotland, you look at France, you look at England. And Ireland are starting to go a bit the other way, which is hard to see. I would have liked to see a couple more of these, like new faces and younger players coming in. I think Josh Kenny, who's been tearing it up for Leinster, he would have been a great addition. One of the Ward brothers coming in would have been great. But I think that those away games are tough, and I think they could struggle and could be a tough. I don't want to jinx it.
No, I agree. Like stereotypically, these would be the years where it's not great for us. We have won a slam before. I think it was the year Sexton dropped the goal. So we have done it before, but I think even the most optimistic Ireland fan looks at this year's fixtures and thinks this is a development year. We want to see how the team goes over the 6 games, but we're not really expecting a trophy at the end of it.
I've got a question for you. Were you living in London that St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Oh, I bet that was good to be an Irishman in London.
It was carnage. It was absolute carnage.
Now, we're going to get into Ireland's fantasy MVPs. And first up, it's the man, Dan Sheehan. He's 16 stars. And he's 16 stars for a reason, because he scored 5 tries last championship. And he is the all-time top scoring forward. You've got to have him in your team, haven't you?
Oh, it's not like the amount of times last year, like you'd want to go a bit differential to try and catch up with your mates a bit. And anytime you left him out, just like, why?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a bit like DuPont. Like there are some players that you just can't afford not to have, because if they have one of their games, you could be behind
Literally.
for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. And the way that Irish attack goes, kicking for the corner, he's got the capability to score a hat-trick at hooker. The value's outrageous.
He's like an extra winger sometimes. He's ridiculous. It's crazy. He's still young as well. Like he's still got years to go.
And then the other Irish fantasy MVP I've got here is none other than Ty Byrne. He's 13 stars. Now, he remains the turnover king. And with the new 2026 rule, you're going to have to correct me on this, Andy, it gives you 5 points per breakdown steal.
That's correct.
I got it right?
Yep,
well,
100%.
my notes have got it right. All I had to do was read it correctly. So would you say for that reason, he's a good person to get in your team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can do everything. He scored tries last season, maybe a 50-22 in the locker. We've seen them from him before. Those get you points as well. So, yeah, I mean, he's expensive, but it's worth the stars.
I remember when we were doing the North versus South back row in the Autumn Nation series, and my dad said, that's one that you have to pick him. So I think my fantasy team's going to have to be the same. He's in straight away.
Right, now we're going to take it over to the Allianz Stadium where England are facing Wales. So we're going to start off with England first, Ben, ease you into it.
Thank you.
Now, they are coming into this championship on some pretty impressive form. I think at the start of the autumns, whether people would have predicted they'd be going in as favourites for the Six Nations, probably not. But they're now on their 11-win streak. So they're going to be going into this match at home against Wales pretty confident, don't you think?
Oh, I mean, can you blame them? I mean, they've got more momentum than anyone right now. You look at some of those wins, finally getting that win against the All Blacks was incredible for them. And you just go 1 through 15. There's danger all throughout that lineup. That back line, with the likes of Faye Boso, having to move Freeman in at centre, which they've been doing for the Saints, it just shows the embarrassment of riches they've got at their disposal. So I'm a bit nervous, to say the least. We'll put it like that.
Yeah.
They look the team in the tournament that's like the most comfortable within themselves. Like I think they know exactly what they're trying to do. I think they feel like the plan is working. Everybody's bought in. there isn't more maybe minor tweaks, but there aren't like wholesale changes that they have to make. Like, barring any changes to the laws between now and the Rugby World Cup, they can just crack on. Like, this is the way they're going to play. They've got an amazing kick chase game. They've got monsters all over the field. Like, I was at that New Zealand game in the autumn, and like in the second half, they just put them away. Like, when, you know, historic New Zealand teams, when they got that try in the second half, they would kick on and they would go and score a hatful more points, and then you'd be left thinking, like, how did we lose that game? And England just kind of ground them down, squeezed them out of the game. Like, they look very impressive, but they have to go to Paris, so not easy.
Yeah, hopefully they can build that momentum until they get there. Now, the one thing that I'm loving about England at the moment is their strength and depth in the bench. I hate saying it, it makes me cringe, but I know that's what they call it now, the POM squad.
Don't start.
I feel like I've got to say it. But it's really exciting to see, isn't it? It's almost like adds this really fun new injection to the game when they all come on at the same time as well. It really kind of creates this fun atmosphere in the second half.
Oh, definitely. And you look, because if you go through 1 through 15 of all the Six Nations sides, you know, everyone's got strength all throughout the pitch, everyone's lineups. But that, you know, 16 through 23 is where they really make the difference. You know, to have some people like Tom Curry, Henry Pollock, it's outrageous. Yeah. And then, you know, you come on against some tired bodies. And in sports, momentum and that crowd energy, it's a real thing. Yeah. So, you know, around that 60-minute mark, where there's 55, whenever they bring them on, you feel that momentum shift. And like I said, against the All Black side, where normally the All Blacks would put them away, it's now they're going for the killer shot. So I think in certain big games, where it's like whether you're pointing to the game out in Scotland or they're going out to France, that could be a real momentum shift for them. It could be really huge for them this year.
Yeah, it could be massive. Like, Curry, one of the best players on the Lions tour, amazing in the Six Nations last season. Like, just one of the top back rows around in Europe, certainly, probably in the world. And Pollock, one of the best young players in Europe as well. And that's who you're firing off the bench.
Outrageous.
Like, it's crazy. Both of them would start in most Six Nations teams, I think.
100%.
I mean, I also just can't wait to see what TikTok dances, teeth licking, Pollock's going to do this championship. So we'll look forward to that one. Now, in terms of fantasy MVP, first up, we've got Ben Earl. 15 stars, not surprising. He's a real talisman of that England squad, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. And like you said, you look at the way the Six Nations fantasy is working with this, all the meters made, points, defenders beaten. Yeah. He can rack it up all over the park. I mean, he's even got the ability, when you're talking about bringing all these players on the back row, could shift him to centre for a bit, and he could rack up even more points, you know what I mean? And he had an incredible Automation series where, you know, some people questioning whether he's an out-and-out 8. Well, for the way that England side plays, he's perfect for them. He's that athletic man that can get all across the pitch. He was brilliant for them, wasn't he?
Yeah, like you say, meters, defenders beaten, turnover threat as well. He got loads in the Six Nations last season, try threat. Like, he's the perfect fantasy rugby player. Like, he can do everything.
He did have the leading number of carries in the Quilter Nations series, 60 carries.
Yes, he's getting through some work.
Yeah.
He really, really is. And then the final one we've got here is George Ford. He's my fave. Now, there's always the argument of who is getting that spot. Is it going to be George Ford or Marcus Smith? What are you guys thinking on that position for England?
I think for what England are trying to do, like I was saying earlier, that kick chase, and you can see it when they're bringing in the likes of Freddie Stewart and the way those wingers are attacking that high ball. I think he's perfect for what they want to do. I think both are going to a very structured side, wants to play his sort of game. And I think, like I say, Marcus Smith could be good to create a bit of chaos coming off the bench. But I think when you need just a very structured game and exactly to stick to the game plan, I think he's the perfect man for them.
Yeah, I agree. And it's for the 6-2 as well. If you haven't got Marcus Smith on the bench, then who's your 23? Like, who's the guy who can cover all those positions? Who's the guy who can come in and allow you to have those 6 forwards? So it kind of has to be Ford or Finn Smith. And, like, Ford is clearly ahead in the pecking order at the moment. So, and, I mean, good reason. Like, he was class in autumn. Like, dropping those goals against New Zealand was amazing. Like, he's aging like a fine wine.
Yeah, true.
He really is. Safe pair of hands. And I still come back to it. It blows my mind. He's never played or been a part of the Lions, which I also find is
mental,
insane,
crazy.
considering
mental.
how talented he is. Now, Ben, we're going to come
here
to our
we
fate. You can't back down now.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
You should have thought about that choice if you didn't want to be big enough Wales. Now, obviously, Steve Tandy's first Six Nations as head coach of Wales. He has been there before with Scotland, but head coach of Wales. How are you feeling for this one as they take on England in the Allianz?
This is going to need like a Del Boy style pitch to try and sell you on this. But,
We're ready for it.
Yeah. Well, I think if you go back to the Quilter Nation series, as much as that glaring 70-point loss against South Africa is kind of hanging over our heads, there was a lot of promise. Like, I was in the stadium for that New Zealand game, and if you told us before it, we didn't think we'd win. But if you give us 60 minutes where you think you're in the game, you're playing really good rugby, there's a lot of positives. I mean, you look at that Tom Rodge hat-trick, that probably gave more electricity for the Welsh fans than we've had in years. And you compare that with the last-minute kick from, I think it was Johan Lloyd against Japan. It's moments, and I think the biggest thing for us this year, if you look at it in terms of wins and losses, you can kind of get bogged down by what a successful sort of Six Nations for us is. But I was speaking about it the other day. The biggest win is winning the fans back on our side. And I think you can see they're trying to buy into what Steve Tandy's doing. And there is real belief. And for those performances were really good to get the fans back on our side. So I think if we put out a couple of performances like that, it might not be the ideal way to start going to the Allianz. But no, I'm somewhat optimistic about the Six Nations.
Are you back in Sam Warburton after he said that we could finish fourth?
Yeah, the miracle that we might finish fourth. Well, I don't know if I'll go that far. But, I mean, it has the capability. And like I said, there's certain games where it can immediately turn on its head. And there's so many games in this championship where you can see them going either way, and it completely changes the look of the whole championship. 3 home games, there's a lot of chance there for Wales to have some really good performances. And, you don't know what sort of Scotland side you're going to get when they're coming down to Wales. And then you go last game of the Six Nations, Italy have to come down to Wales. So there's potential there for a miracle A win, you know what I mean?
And as the neutral then, Andy, what are your thoughts on Wales going into this Guinness Men's Six Nations?
I mean, look, I agree. Like, the fact that Wales and Italy have each other in the final game is interesting because, like, injuries are going to wreak havoc with both squads as we get towards that final game. And who's hit worse could have a massive impact on it. And like if Wales have a relatively clean bill of health, if they get Jack Morgan back in time, which it sounds like they might, then all of a sudden you're looking at a different matchup, especially if Italy have lost a couple games in the build-up and they haven't looked so good. So like, I understand why. I still think the smart money is probably on another very tough championship for Wales. Like if you're cold-eyed about it and you look at the autumn and you look at how they performed, there were improvements, but it feels like they've got a fair distance to go yet. And like if they make the same amount of improvement again and there's a couple of close games, like I think that'll be a passing grade for them.
Definitely.
But like you say, there are a ton of games in this championship which, 2 months out, you look at it and you're like, that's only going one way. And then the closer you get to the game, you start to think, I don't know, maybe they could nick something, because it's 15 guys against 15 guys at the end of the day. So it's possible Wales do something, but I wouldn't stake anything on it.
I mean, it's the magic of the Guinness Men's Six Nations, guys. Anything can happen.
Exactly. And it's one of those things, whenever the Six Nations comes around, it might be a month out and you look at the games like, it could be a wooden spoon. And then the closer it gets, you're something, hold on, everyone thinks England, could we do it,
But I mean, a couple of things, if a couple of things had gone differently in Cardiff against Ireland last year, you could have won that game.
Exactly.
Like you weren't far off winning that game. And you ended up with no wins, but if you'd finished the championship having beaten Ireland, that would have felt very, very different. So like, stranger things have happened than Wales winning a game of rugby. It can happen.
Andy, very on brand there. Things reference. I love it. You got to love the Welsh, always the eternal optimist. Now, we've obviously got, not really a new captain, but he's come back in now that Jack Morgan's out, Derry Lake. But he's really growing into that role as a leader and a captain. How much of an impact do you think he's going to have this championship?
I think he's, he really, there's been some development over the last couple of years, but I think he's really starting to hit his stride now. And I think big move to Gloucester, I think is a really good thing for him. The quality in the Premiership is brilliant. And anytime you've got a player playing in that, they're only going to continue to grow. But I think he could have a really key role for us this Six Nations. And, steady throughout, there's a lot of youngsters coming through and, there's a lot of sort of players to guide. We've got that big battle for the 10 shirt going on now. You thought it was Dan Edwards', but now Sam Costello's come back and he's hitting a bit of form for Scarlet. So, I think he could play a real leadership role. And someone that's, got good experience there. I think he could have a good Six Nations.
And speaking of experience, Thomas Francis is back. Now, he's not actually played for Wales since 2023, which is a while, but he's got 77 caps. And I think set piece is going to be really important for Wales this championship. So having him back in has got to be a huge help, don't you think, Ben?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And like you said, because the squad itself, you've got so many young players coming through, having a bit of experience. There's some people, eyes were going, oh, nice surprise pick. But like I said, I think Steve Tandy knows what he's doing. He wants a bit of experience there. And, we're leaning quite a lot on the youngsters, especially in the attack. And, that starting lineup's probably going to have a lot of them. So I think it's important to have those people, even whether he's starting or just around the camp. I think it'll be an important thing for us, definitely.
Yeah, right. Now, shall we get into our fantasy MVPs? So you touched on it earlier, but Mr. Hat-Trick, Tom Rogers. Now, you've got to pick him, and he's a great person to have. He's only 9 stars, so he's quite cheap, and I don't mean that negatively, Tom. But he was the first European player to score 3 tries in one game against New Zealand. Like, what a thing to take to the grave.
I think he's drinking for free in every bar.
For sure, for life.
Yeah. So I think, he's definitely meant to have that. And then the other one, who's really low cost, but I think definitely a great person to get in, is Nicky Smith. He's only 8 stars, but he's got such a high tackle count. So I imagine he's a good one to get in there to free up your funds.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, I love it when you guys agree with me.
Perfect. No notes.
Making my job easy. Now, we're going to go in to the fixture we've not come to yet, and that is Scotland, Italy. So first up, we're going to talk about Scotland. They had a bit of a hit and miss autumns. They were in front against both Argentina and New Zealand and ended up losing. But where do you think they're at as a squad now coming into this championship?
I think for me, I almost feel higher on the Scottish side than some Scottish people. I think they're just sort of dreading that feeling of getting their hopes up again and then being disappointed. But I mean, you go through the squad, you can't see any reason why they can't be. To me, I think they could be pushing at minimum top 3 this year. I think they've got to be. And you look at the way the club game mimics the international stage. When the likes of Toulouse are roaring, France are roaring, when the Prem's going well, the England side's going well. But no one's been in better form this year than Glasgow. Home draw now for the rest of the knockouts in the Champions Cup. The back line there, you've got some of the most informed players in Europe right now. The likes of Kyle Steyn, Dobie, you've got one of the best centre partnerships in, Hugh Peloto, as the bromance is being called. And, someone who had an incredible automation series, Jack Dempsey, because a lot of the time the question has been about, the back line's there, but is the forward pack. The forward pack's raising their game. And he was Mr. 20 carries a game in the order. He was carrying them. So I think they've got the capability to have a really strong Six Nations.
I think so too. It seems almost like written that the year that everybody stops talking about them is the year that you look at their squad and you're like, God, it looks good.
They might finally do it.
Yeah, they look good in the autumn. Obviously not for 80 minutes of every game, but when they were good, they looked really, really good. Like Gregor Brown's been amazing for them at 6. Like you say, they haven't got any really significant injuries. Like last year, they lost Tua Palatu before the tournament even started. I think they lost some second rows as well. I think Scott Cummings might have been out. So they're not, they haven't got the deepest squad, but now going into the tournament, they're not in a position where they're missing anyone really, really crucial. And when they've got their first choice 23, they're very, very good. And they've got France and England at home. You'd think they can upset somebody.
Yeah. And those those Autumn Nations games, and I can see why people hold it against them, because that New Zealand game was heartbreaking.
Honestly, it broke my heart. I just
brutal,
watching it, I was like, as a Welsh woman, I was like, I couldn't even imagine what it must feel like to be Scottish, because it broke my heart watching that.
But I think it kind of depends. So I feel because I think there's some merit in almost getting those losses out the way and building those sort of battle scars ready for the Six Nations. A couple of ballers go a different way there. Damien McKenzie doesn't have an all-time super sub performance. Yeah. And you're looking at that game as a historic win out in Scotland. And then I know the Argentina game was tough, but I just do think, some lessons have to be learned, you know what I mean? And then I just feel like they've got the capability to do it.
If they can't put an 80 minutes together this year with the group that they have, it's never, ever, ever going to happen. And it's just going to be one of those impossible things in sport where it's you think the tide has to turn eventually and it just never does. They have to have one really good championship with this group. The talent they have is really, really strong. They're probably the only team in the Six Nations who have all their props as well. Everybody else has a massive injury crisis in the front row. So yeah, I think tentatively, I like how they look. They look good going in.
Come on, Scotland. Your fellow Celts are rooting for you. Yeah. Now, let's talk about their fantasy MVPs. So first up, Ewan Ashman. He's 12 stars, so he's not super expensive. He had a real standout Quilter Nation series, didn't he, Andy?
He was amazing. Like, on the carry, he looked so good. You know, Scotland could get the maul going as well. Like we were talking about, you mentioned Glasgow earlier. Like, they've got a great maul. Like, most of those players are playing in this Scotland team. Like, they know exactly what they're doing there. And yeah, I think Ashman... For if you wanted to go cheaper, if you didn't want to select Dan Sheehan, you wanted to spend your stars elsewhere, he's probably not a bad shout.
I love this. I love having the knowledge here for this fantasy pick. We'll come to it later. It's really going to help me out. And then the other one, now he is, in my mind, my super sub, Jamie Dobie. He's only 9 stars, but that versatility of being a scrum half and a winger, that's really got to count for something, hasn't it?
Oh, 100%. You know, you look when it comes to the super sub, you're looking for someone, right, who can cover these different positions and who's going to come off the bench if they're on the bench and make an impact. He's been in red hot form in the URC and the Champions Cup. So I think if you're looking at someone in form, the way the Scottish side wants to play, they want to get out the blocks and they want to start attack. So I think he could be great value.
Yeah, I mean, it looks that way. The only problem is Scotland have so many 9s. It's like, how do they fit them all into squad? Because George Horan hasn't been bad either. Like, he's been flying. But Dobie, like you say, he's looked like, in some competition, there's a lot of really good Scottish backs, but he's looked like maybe the forum Scottish back. Exactly. So, yeah, excited to see, 1, if he makes a 23, and 2, what he does.
And in that Quilter Nation Series game, I mean, everyone's scoring about like a try against that USA side, but he was in red hot form there as well, so he could be a good pick for sure.
He was. Now, we're going to go to their competition, which is Italy. And there seems to be a bit of an Italian revolution. They're really coming into their own. And they're probably coming to this championship being pretty confident. They beat Australia in the Quilter Nation series, which was a huge win for them. Where do you think they rank going into this championship, Andy?
Oh, it's tough to say because they've got some injuries, right? So that's definitely going to hurt them a little bit. But for the first time, I think in my lifetime as a rugby fan, you look at the squad and you think, like, there's some depth there. Like, they've got some players who can cover those positions, and they've got some class active players like Zuliani, the back row. He's unbelievable. He's giant, huge in the contact. Only Fraser McWright got more turnovers than him in Test rugby last season in the whole world. So, like,
liver stats, man.
Yeah, but the fact that he's up there with Artie Savea, with like genuine worldy players, and he's right up there with all of them. And it shows you they've got that depth of talent that they didn't have before. In the centres, they've got Brexon, Menoncello. Like, they've got really, really good players. The question will be, because the fixtures aren't great for them, right? Like, they've got England at home, they've got Scotland at home, and then they've got 3 away games. So, I mean, that's tough, but they've become much more difficult to beat. They've got a really good kicking game. And, you know, if they hit some form, I think a lot hangs on that first game against Scotland. If they play really well, or if they even manage to sneak a win, it transforms the rest of the competition for them. But if they lose that game, then it's kind of an uphill battle.
Yeah, and Ben, what do you think? How do you think having no Capewatso or Tommaso Allen is going to affect their start of their championships anyway?
I think it's really brutal because it felt like, especially, you know, anytime you're taking the world champs toe-to-toe in the Open Nation Series, you think this is a quality side. And you would have loved to see, you know, like Capewatso, Tommaso Allen, Tadaro going out injured was a heartbreaking one because you felt the amount of young talent they've got in that squad, they could have really kicked on. But I think it's a testament to how far they've come. You know, you take out Negri and then all those injuries as well, and you still think they've got a very good side here. They can compete with just about anyone. So I think it'll hinder them, but I still think there's a lot of positives if you're an Italian fan to think we could have a really good Six Nations year.
Okay, so we're now going to touch on Italy. So we're going to touch now on Italy's fantasy MVPs. And first up, we have the centre, Tommaso Menoncello. Now, he's 14 stars, so kind of high, but not like super, super high. Is he worth putting in your team? Now, also, I didn't realise this until I did my research, but he was actually the 2024 Player of the Championship. So he's a good guy to have in your team, I'd imagine, Andy.
He is, because he can do all of it. He scores tries, he wins turnovers, he beats players, he makes so many tackles. And like last season, he was incredible, except for that second round game against Wales, where he never got the ball. I'm still not over it. Still not over it. I captained him that week. It was an absolute disaster. But aside from that, he had an incredible tournament. Like I say, he can do everything. And, you know, in a very crowded field of very, very good centres, he was right up there. I think he might have been the highest scoring centre in the game. I would have to check that. But he's definitely top 1 or 2. So, yeah, I would say he has to go in there.
And you look at like week to week when you're picking your fantasy team, centre can kind of be the awkward one because obviously in the back three you've got your big point scorers, and then week three is very hit and miss. But I think someone like Mencello, who is very set, like I said, apart from that Wales game, but is very set week to week. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get good points. You're going to get carries, tackles, tries. You can do the lot. So I think he's a solid. Pick him week one, and then you can feel comfortable about it for the rest of the Six Nations, I think.
Yeah. Now, the final one I've got here to look out for Italy's fancy MVP is Zambonin, the 6'8" Adonis.
The giant man.
I'd love to just be stood next to him, just like how I can't even fathom. But he's actually only 8 stars, so surely he's a great player to get in there, being that cheap.
Oh, definitely. And you look at the amount of points that you can get from line-out steals. I think it's like 7 points this year. So, there's real value coming in and getting these line-out thieves. And someone like him, you can lift someone as high as you want. If you've got someone 6'8" going up, you're not beating him to the ball.
No, I did some research looking at ahead for my team, and he's in the top 5 for line-out steals in European club rugby this season so far. And it's mostly, big French line-out forwards and then him as well. So he's definitely worth looking at, and he's so cheap as well. He'll make a load of tackles in that Italy team as well. 100%. Yeah, I would definitely think, because lock isn't somewhere you necessarily want to splash the cash. You want to try and save your stars there. So Zambonin is an excellent pick.
Right. Noted. Now, we've gone through all of the different teams, but what I want to get is your predictions of how that table is going to fare at the end of the championship, guys.
Fastest way to ruin your reputation.
So what we'll do is I'll do you first, Andy, and then we'll come to you, Ben. So we'll go 6th all the way through to 1st, and then, Ben, you can do the same. So who are you going in with the wooden spoon coming in 6th, Andy?
Sorry, mate. It's Wales.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
What?
I'm sorry.
How about 5th spot?
I'm going to go Italy.
Okay. 4th?
I'm going to say Scotland.
3rd?
Ireland.
Oh, Homer pick.
2nd?
England.
And you're going to go France first?
I'm going to say France to win it, just because they have the home games. So I think, on balance, they should have enough to do it.
Okay. Right then, Ben. Your time to give me your predictions.
Right,
what are we going with 6th?
It feels ridiculous to do that wearing this jersey, but I'm going to go Wales at 6. And then if I'm wrong, brilliant.
You've never wanted to be so wrong in all your life, have you?
Exactly. 5th, I think they've got a great side, but I think the injuries just might be a bit much for them. I'm going to go Italy at 5th.
Okay.
4th... As much as I back Andy Farrell, I am going to have to go Ireland at 4th. I just think there's too much talent in the other sides, and I think other sides have got more to give. 3rd, I'm going to go Scotland. I think they've really got... I'd love to put them higher, and I think that England-Scotland game out in Scotland is going to be huge, and I could easily see... Like I said, we were talking about earlier, in the Calcutta Cup game, something weird always happens. No matter how good you feel about either team going into it, something weird happens. So you could easily see them getting a win out there, which might push them up the table, but I'll go Scotland 3rd for now. And then I think it'll all come down to the final day, and I'll go England 2nd, France 1st. I've got to wear this shirt. I think out in Paris, I think you give France the edge.
There we go. So you both agree on who's going to take the championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a Grand Slam on the cards this year?
I don't, because I think, you look at the table. We've both predicted England and France up at the top. If that swapped around, I wouldn't be remotely surprised. Same with Ireland and Scotland in the middle. Same with Italy and Wales down the bottom. It does feel like there are sort of 3 groups within the Six Nations table, and any order within the groups wouldn't surprise me. The teams are quite closely matched.
I think it's one of the best setups for the Six Nations we've had in a while, where it feels like nearly every game, you could see it flipping either way. You could make a great argument. You look at the opening week, you could see Ireland pulling off the upset. That Scotland-Italy game could go either way. I'm not going to go quite as far as say Wales might do the same, but just there's so many games that could turn on a head, and then it suddenly changes the whole championship completely. So I think we're set up for a barnstormer this year.
You can imagine a reality where Scotland lose in Rome and then beat England or France in Edinburgh. You could easily see that.
Yeah, exactly. And then it changes the way the whole table looks.
Yeah.
If Italy get that week 1
completely
win,
different
they could
then.
go on to really go for it. So, well, we'll see.
Guys, you get me excited. Oh, I can't wait. So this year, we're going to be deep diving into the Guinness Men's Six Nations fantasy rugby game. And we're very lucky because we're going to be getting our resident fantasy expert, Andy, giving us a breakdown into each week's fixtures and who we should be picking. But before we get into choosing my fantasy team, we thought we'd get a little explainer from the man himself.
Here are 6 things that you need to know if you're playing Six Nations Fantasy Rugby this year. I'm Rugby Nose. If you're a rugby fan, you might have seen me on TikTok. If you haven't seen me, hello. Last season, loads of you joined my league to play Fantasy Rugby on the official Six Nations game. And this year, I'm working with the Six Nations to see if we can go even bigger. You can go to my page and click on the link in my bio to join. We'll post a link in the comments and you can search for the league name as well. So, in preparation for 2026, we've been crunching the numbers and looking at some of the trends from last season's fantasy game to give you the information you need to make the best possible start in Fantasy Rugby this year. Number 1, save your budget for the big point scorers. Last season, it was the back 3 and the back row players who had the highest scores overall. Of the 15 highest scoring players in the whole game, we had 5 back 3 players, that's wingers and fullbacks. We had 5 back rowers. We had 3 centres. We had 1 hooker, Dan Sheehan, and 1 scrum half, Dupont, both of whom you should pick if you have the budget. Number 2, your back rowers are the heart of your team. Last season, they gave you the highest average points per player and the best ROI on your budget. However, of last season's top 3 scorers in the back row, Ben Earl, Jack Morgan and Gregory Aldrit, only Earl is available for round 1 this season. Aldrit's been dropped by France and Jack Morgan is injured. Based on last season, Tom Curry and Jack Conan are next in line, but in terms of new faces, I like Zuliani, the Italian flanker. If Mikhail Guillard plays at 8 for France, he'll be a great option, and someone is going to have to make up for the lack of Jack Morgan's tackle count in the Welsh back row. But we'll have to wait for the lineups to see. Number 3, your back 3 players have the highest ceiling. They score more tries, but also crucially, they carry for a lot more metres. Blair Kinghorn was the top scorer in the whole game last season, and he carried for 855 metres. That was more than double Louis Bielbiarré's total, who came in second overall. And Bielbiarré had 8 try involvements in the competition, scoring and assisting. Kinghorn only had 3, so it shows you how important those meter stats were for Kinghorn owners last year. But players like Tommy Freeman, Thomas Ramos, who kicks goals as well, and Duan van der Merwe are guaranteed point scorers. I think we'll be adding Emmanuel Faye-Waboso, maybe Gail Dreyon or Theo Atisogbe to that list this year, maybe even Tommy O'Brien. Number 4, don't overlook the right centres. The 3 centres who made the top 15 are all available for selection this season. Tommaso Menoncello, Yoram Moefana, and Hugh Jones are all going to be big point scorers again. Menoncello is an all-rounder, while Moefana and Jones are big carriers and they score tries. Number 5, get to know the cheap beasts. Players like Dupont and Sheehan are kind of too good not to pick, even though they're very pricey. But remember, you can only have 4 players from each nation, so you're going to have to make some tough calls. And filling some gaps with players like Daffyd Jenkins, who finished level on points with Tyg Byrne over the competition last season, despite being considerably cheaper, can help you keep things balanced. And number 6, captain and super sub are make or break. It's double points for your captain and triple for your super sub. And as we discussed for both, the smart money is to go with a back rower or a hooker if they're in good form, but it's always tempting to go for a huge score with an outside back or a centre. It can be a big risk. I captained Menoncello for week 2 last season and it kind of wrecked my whole competition. He got like 8 points after the multiplier in the rain in Rome. You've also got to decide if you spread the risk over 2 matches or you pick 2 players from what you think will be the highest scoring game. Looking ahead to round 1, I really like the look of a captain Ben Earl with a Henry Pollock super sub, but we shall see. Get in the comments, let me know who you're thinking of captaining and super subbing for round 1, and let's get ready for fantasy this year.
Right then, boys, I've got the perfect men for the job.
Yes.
You are going to help me pick my fantasy team because I've not picked it just yet, but I've got my phone at the ready and the app is very much open. So if I don't absolutely crush this, you guys are to blame.
Yeah, this is
I know, pressure's
career
on,
at
right?
stake, isn't it?
Andy, your job literally hangs in the balance here.
This is
Fantasy
the
rugby
whole reason
expert.
I'm here.
Okay, so what we're thinking is let's start with the back 3 first. Would that make the most amount of sense, Andy?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So should we go wingers? That's what I'm
Yes.
thinking. Now, are we silly not to just go straight in with Louis Bielbiarré?
I mean, who else? Who else? He's got to be number 1 on everyone's team sheet, I think. The biggest part, you don't want to be that person in your league that wants to be different and picks against, and all of a sudden he drops a hat-trick against Ireland, you're out of it for the rest of the tournament. I think he's got to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I just think you can't afford not to pick him.
100%.
Right then, let's do it.
Get him in.
Get him in. I also must admit earlier I wasn't paying attention and I typed my own name and Wales in to find as a player. That would be quite the sight to behold. Okay, back 3. God, I tell you what, this app is very user-friendly. Okay, fabulous. Locked in.
All right.
Exciting stuff. Who should we go with next? Should we go with the other wing?
Yeah, I think for me, there's when you look at the highest points total projected for these games, it's that Wales-England game. And I think there's going to be a lot more points on that English side than the Welsh side. So I think I'll leave your expertise, but to me it's Freeman or Boso.
Well, it would have been Tommy Freeman, I think, but
now in the centre as well.
Now, during recording, we learned that Tommy Freeman's going to be playing at 13, so I don't think you want to put him in your back three. Faye Boso has been on fire this year.
Electric.
I think he's your guy.
I still will never get over the fact he doesn't play for Wales.
That must be heartbreaking. That must be heartbreaking. Because he is ridiculous, and he hasn't really had a proper shake with England yet, and he still looked so good. Like, I think he's gonna smash it. The Six Nations.
He's the sort of player. As soon, like I said, he's a highlight waiting to happen. As soon as he gets the ball, you're like, well, the first defender's not making that tackle, and then it's just every time he's playing against Wales, it just breaks my heart.
It does, but he's such a smiley bloke with such incredible abs. You can't be mad at him. Now, right, let's go for it. So, England, where are you? There you are. Get him in.
And then this third back three spot is where it gets
really
tricky to me.
You can really get into the weeds here.
Yeah.
It depends who you're going to pick at 10. Because if you want to pick Jalibert at 10, you probably need a kicker. You probably need Toma Ramos, because you need that steady flow of kicks from conversions and penalties. But Ramos isn't a flyer. He's not like a big try scorer like some of the other back three players that you can choose from. So it's difficult. Like, do you want to go for a Scotland winger because they might score some points out in Rome, or do you want to back England a bit more heavily?
I don't want to see
so
double English in that.
Has Stuart been picked?
Stuart has been picked, at 15. Yeah. But to me, I think it's a toss-up between, like, if you want to double the English, or if you want to, because we're only allowed 4 from each nation.
Yeah.
I think someone like Kyle Stein against Italy, which could end up someone that's in red hot form, could be a good call.
Could be a good call. Atisogbe could be a good call if you want to back France. If you think they're going to heavily beat Ireland.
Well, you're the expert. I'll leave it in your capable hands.
I mean, I like Kyle Stein. I think that's a good pick. But are Scotland going to go to Rome and score a hatful of points? Probably not. I think you're more likely to get more points in the England game. And I think Henry Arundel's on the other wing.
Yeah, that just scares me so much.
Yeah, but then also you look at it and you think, well, but 2 wingers probably aren't going to score tons of points. So
they are playing Wales, man.
Maybe you're better off backing one. I think Faye Boso is a better. If you're going to pick one England winger, Faye Boso is better. I think he goes looking for work a bit more. I think he gets involved in the game a bit more. He's going to make more carries probably than Arundel does. But I don't know. Arendel's ridiculous. I'm stuck on this one.
So who have we got it? Like, who are the 2 that we're gonna?
Sure. Yeah, well, to be fair, it's your team. We'll give it in your. We got Kyle Stein or we got Arundel.
Let's have a look at how much they cost.
You got to try and save the budget. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, I think we're gonna have a lot of English in this team.
Yes.
So we can come back to it, but I reckon someone like Stein could be a good.
Guys, I reckon go with Stein. He's 10.
Let's put him in so we've got
steady Eddie.
That's great value.
Yeah, let's do it. Right. He's in.
I can think of at least 2 more England players I want. So
yeah,
it does make sense. Yeah.
He's in and our back 3 is complete.
Yeah.
Lovely jubbly. Right, what are we going to go on to next? Back row?
Back rows.
Big point scorers,
yes.
Big point scorers.
Then. Lovely stuff. Okay. Where should we start?
First name on the team sheet, Ben Earl. Has to be.
Okay, Ben. He's 15. He's 15. What is my budget saying, though, now? Where are we at? It's 162. God, I'm actually chilling. I got loads. Right. Fab. We're getting Ben in there. Yeah. Benny boy. In he goes.
He'd be my pick for captain week 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, big goal.
He's just guaranteed
we
to
will
do loads
come. We will come to that. Yeah. But who the captain's going to be? Right.
I think another name as well. Like, I'm going through the back row. I think there's 2 games where it's going to be 4 big forwards games. That France-Ireland game, I think you need a back row from someone there, and I think you need some shares in that Scotland-Italy game. Yeah. So to me, He's definitely in my team, but Jack
Robin?
Dempsey.
Oh, no.
Well, I'll get to him.
Jump the gun.
But to me, Jack Dempsey for that Scotland game, I think he's the premier option.
Yeah.
He's going to be at the core of everything that Scottish pack is going to be doing. Like I said, carrying, dominant tackles. I think he can do the lot. So he'd be going in my team. I don't know whether you want to.
So what? I mean, I don't disagree. Do you reckon if we did Byrne and Dempsey?
That's a good back row.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a tentative.
Yeah, he didn't believe that.
I like Dempsey.
What are you thinking?
I like Dempsey. And then is Byrne in the game as a lock or a
Oh, that's actually a very good question.
Because if he's in as a lock, you can squeeze him in as an extra back row.
Yeah.
That's usually an option. Very tense.
It's quite a lot to go through, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a bit- I think he's down the second row. I think.
That changes things.
Yeah. I'd go Doris.
I mean,
The Irish not even back in this.
just what if we get blown away? I've PTSD from the French game last year. You know.
The thing is, like, even I think that's the beauty of the fantasy, because even if you've got
Oh, he's not in. Yeah, he's not an option for back row.
Yeah, he'll be in as a lock,
Okay.
so you can squeeze an extra back rower into your team, which is handy because he probably will play at 6. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should we go for?
Right, so we've got Ben Earl locked in.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Dempsey.
Are we locking in
happy
Dempsey?
to sign off on Dempsey.
Lock in Dempsey.
Let's get Dempsey going. I need to use the filters instead of going through all of these. There we go. Filters.
I reckon we need to start thinking about budget, especially if we're going to put Byrne in at lock.
True.
So maybe you want a slightly cheaper option in the back row, like someone who's just going to make a hatful of tackles.
Yeah, that's the thing. Someone, whether it's in that, like someone like Wales, someone Welsh or someone
Yeah.
Italian or something
Yeah.
that could really.
Wainwright?
Wainwright's not a bad shout.
Not a bad shot at all because he carries
Because
as well.
he carry, yeah.
Yeah.
And big hitter as well.
Yeah, sounds like we're being biased.
Guys, I'm going to do it. I'm going
I think he
Wainwright.
scored pretty well last year.
Yeah, and it's your team.
Yeah.
Like, you know better than us, anyway.
Yeah, Wayne. God, it's quite hard.
Are we really going to have no French back rows though?
Oh, for Christ.
This is why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
I think in the predicted teams they're saying Jegu, they're saying Gelanche at 8, and I can't remember who they've got at 6.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm back in my Welshies.
Okay.
Oh, there we
Wainwright,
go.
you're going in.
Go ahead.
The boss scores come in.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what hairstyle he's going with this championship.
I think you were about to say though, what's great about it is you don't have to be in a dominant team to rack up a good fantasy performance, because as long as you make tons of carries, as long as you make tons of tackles, you get involved in the game, you can still do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you see last year, like Dav Jenks, I think either last year or the year before, even in a struggling website, Dav Jenks was one of the best forward options just because of the amount of tackles and the amount of work he's getting.
Last year he got the same number of points as Tyg Byrne in the game.
There we
Look
go.
at
Yep.
That's the expert coming
There it
through
is.
there, isn't
I
it?
love this. I love this. Right, okay. Next up, we're going to go for our hooker.
Nice.
I feel like this is kind of, we're all in agreement
It
on
picks
this
itself, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Well,
Ooh.
just to show the other side of the argument, Julien Marchand has been on incredible form
Very true.
for Toulouse. Been really good form. France might beat Ireland this weekend.
And if you're looking for a bit of like a
might beat
budget,
Ireland.
for,
I think they're going to beat Ireland.
Having said all of that,
Yeah,
Let's go with you.
negotiate,
negotiate.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Locking him in. Right, let's see what my budget's saying now, mine, because we've gone some
Yeah, we're
high
splashing the
score.
cash
Yeah,
here,
we are.
yeah, mate.
We've still got 106 stars left in my budget. Okay, right. Next up, we're going to go for, right, okay, our scrum half and our fly half up next. Should we go scrum half first?
Yeah, I think as much as there's great, Anton de Pot, it's hard to pick another name in the team sheet, but I think if you're looking at option, because they can be quite hit and miss with a scrum half. You can get some really big scoring weeks, but you can also get a lot of times where most of them are a bit average. So if you're looking at someone who has potential to score big, a sniping try, I think Mitchell for England could be a great option.
Ooh.
I think he
Yeah, I
could be a
agree.
really good pick, I think.
I agree. It's the Dupont question is always like, what if he has a stormer? Because if he
Yeah.
does, then you've missed out. But is it going to come against Ireland? Like his big games in the championship will probably come against Wales and Italy. So if there's a week you can afford not to have him, it's week 1. But I usually bottle it at the last minute and put him in my team. That's normally how I approach it.
Just to be different, I'm saying let's not go DuPont. But
here
then
we
if
go.
we don't, who would you pick, Andy?
I think Mitchell's a good shout. I think England are going to score a lot of points. He might get some assists. You know, he likes a snipe. He might even get a score. Yeah, I mean, it depends who starts at 9 for Scotland. Like Ben White last season was an incredible fantasy pick. Like he got a lot of tries. He played really, really well. But I think Mitchell's a good bet, especially with Wales up in week 1.
How many English guys have we done now? Well, we've still got some in the bank. We're fine.
Yeah.
Right, Mitchell, you're going in. He's only 11. It's not too high.
What's Dupont?
I think he was 16. Should we
Okay.
have a little look?
Yeah, that's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, now we can
15s,
spend some premium.
15s.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, now going for number 10. A fly off. Okay. What are we thinking there, guys? Finn Russell?
It's a tough one as well because it's quite similar with the 9 call. There's a lot of they can either go really well,
Yeah.
or it could just be, you know, if they have an off day and they're not scoring a lot of points like off the kick into they can be quite disappointing.
This is the thing. Over a championship, Russell usually gives you really good value in terms of points. But week to week, he's not necessarily going to be the highest scoring 10. Like, you look at the first week, you think Ford, maybe. You think Jalibert. Like, if he catches fire for France, his club stats for Bordeaux this season are absolutely insane.
Outrageous.
And they're made for fantasy. Like, he's beating players, he's making tons of meters, he's scoring tries, he's assisting, he gets 50-22s. Like, he literally does everything that you can get points for in the game on the offensive side. So the difficult part is, like, France don't play around him the way Bordeaux do, so you don't know if you're going to get the same thing. But I've been completely taken in by the romance of Jalibert having a massive game for France. So I think in my team, I'll probably end up going for Jalibert at 10.
Andy, you're the expert, so I'll do whatever you tell me. Unless it's about Wales.
Although, caveat, we haven't picked a goal kicker. So you are taking a risk. So Ford is a safer bet because he'll kick goals for England. If you want to pick Jalibert, you probably have to pick Thomas Ramos in the back 3 so that you get those points coming in. It's a tricky one.
I haven't picked Ramos though in the back 3, have I? No. Right. Okay. Well, then in that case, we need a kicker.
Well, you say go.
God, I'm so fickle.
Yeah.
Right. There we go.
So how are we doing for English and French players? How many have we got of each?
I have no idea. How do I close that? Okay. Oh God, how cool you can. Oh, okay. We've maxed out our English players.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 Scottish, 4 English, 1 Welsh, 1 French.
We need to get those French numbers up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Where are we going to next then, boys? Centres.
Well, you want to talk about getting the French
Yes.
numbers out? Here's the place to do it. I mean, like we were saying earlier, with that, how lethal that centre partnership, whether you want to go Mofano or Deporté, you know, there's no bad options in that back line. I'd probably go with how well he's played in the Nation Series. I think Deporté's got to be in the team. I think
I'll go with you.
Lethal for Bordeaux as well so far. So I think he's got to be in.
He's in.
I'd almost pick both of them. I'd be tempted.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
like English centre pairing, Tommy Freeman's in there, but he's only in the game as a back 3 player. So you maybe don't want to pick him. And for the Scotland-Italy game, I don't know if Scotland are going to be like freewheeling, scoring loads of tries. Hugh Jones is always a good bet because he can get like an 80-meter score.
Yeah,
and
he's
that's
got
so many
capability to go
points.
nuclear, isn't he?
So yeah, it's a tricky one. Like top scoring centres last year, Menoncello, Jones, and the 2 French. What's his name? French 12. Blanked. Mofana.
Oh, Mofana, yeah.
Were the best scorers. So it's whether you want to add Deportier in or whether you want to take one of Jones. And then
I do always feel like with centres, it's so much about the partnership there as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should.
Oh, you want to double up, do you?
Yeah.
Go for it.
We could
Why
do
not?
it.
Why not?
Guys, it's my team.
Yeah.
Do what I
I was
want.
like, you're the boss. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, we got them locked in. So we've maxed out our English players. We've maxed out our French players. We're now heading to our locks.
Yes.
Well, we named him earlier, but I think, like I said, someone that could be getting through a lot of work, the likes of someone like Dav Jenkins, or we talking a great value pick for Italy as well, Zampanini. It could be appearing like that, where you want someone in the second row, you want someone that's going to be taking out a load of tackles and brings a bit of a threat at line-out time.
Yep.
So I think whether we want to go both of those or one of those.
I'm up for Zambanine because I've only got 59 stars left and he's only 8.
I think
Oh, yeah, we
Zambanine's
need it.
a great shout.
So
But
yeah.
Ty Byrne gives you an extra back rower.
True. Well, we could
Let's see how
double
much
up.
he costs.
Do Byrne and
Yeah,
Zambanine.
give the double. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that as a second row.
Spenny, but
He is
whatever.
expensive,
We're going to go
but
for it.
We'll see where we're left. We can go
Yeah.
back and make some tweaks.
To be fair, this is me every time. I'll do my team, and then like right up until the final moment, I'm changing it. Like,
Right. So, well, to be fair, all we've got left are the props, and
Yeah.
I do have 38 stars left.
Okay.
So I think we're fine
doing all right.
in terms of
We've
spend.
got some space to boost this team up, it sounds like.
Yeah. Right. Props. What are we going with? Oh, we can't do Genge because we've maxed out our English players.
That's the right, because a lot of time there isn't as much value in the front rows.
Yeah.
Hate to say it about the big boys, but there isn't. But someone like Genge is one of those real premium options that if you really want a difference maker compared to the rest of the pack, he is a great option. But I think someone like we were talking earlier, someone maybe in the Welsh front row, or like the Italian front row, someone like Fischetti, or maybe like a Gareth Thomas, something like that. Someone that's just going to eat the tackles and just, because I think that's all you can really ask for from your prop, and then anything else is a bonus, really.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if we've got the budget, Jean-Baptiste Gross usually has a moment in him in a game. Like, he usually does something. And I think the French scrum might be all over the Irish scrum on Thursday night. So it might be good to get a French prop in there. If have we got 3 French or 4?
We're out of Frenchies.
Okay.
Because I did two French Santas.
Okay.
I just look for cheap sort of value.
Well,
in the
because
front
actually,
row.
do you know what would be a smart move? Would be to pick our super sub first, and then let's see what we're left with.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
yes.
call. Good call.
How the hell do I do that?
Just like
Close.
scroll down.
Yeah, down the bottom.
Ah, here we go. Super sub. Okay, fabulous. Right. Super sub. What are you guys thinking?
I think there's 2 big options. One of them we've already said in Dobie, who's got real, like, coming off the bench, versatility, and you know he's going to get minutes, and he's been in red hot form for club. I think it's him, as much as it pains me to say it, the PTSD is there from what he did to us in Cardiff, but someone like Pollock, to have someone of his quality coming off the bench, I mean, he's made for a super sub. If you've got him coming off the bench, he's made for it.
Now, with super sub, though, that counts within the 4 of each, though, doesn't
It does, yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'd
so a
have to draw.
rejig.
Yeah, we'd have to rejig one of the English.
What are your thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I like Pollock or Curry
Mm.
coming off the bench for England. I think the lesson from last year was pick a back row as your super sub is the safest thing to do because they're the most likely to get some points. You know, like hookers have a really big upside. Obviously, back 3 players have a really big upside as well. But a lot of the time they come on and they don't really do anything in a game fantasy-wise. So it's kind of easier and safer to go with a back rower. So if it was me, I would be taking an England player out so I could put Pollock or Curry in.
Right then, let's have a look.
Yeah, I mean, Pollock is the fun pick. Like,
Yeah,
you have to go for Pollock, I think.
Easy to say fun when you're not
Well,
watching
yeah,
him
yeah.
run in like 2 tries.
Mate, he'll get us later in the competition.
So at the moment, with the English guys, we've got Manny Faye-Waboso, George Ford, Mitchell, or Ben Earl.
I'd say we could take Ford out and then go Pollock and then a different 10.
Yeah.
But I know how much you love George Ford. So I don't
Yeah, I know, I do love him, but it's fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
So, God, I really put in my skills to the test. I'm like a grandma. Okay, say that all again, Ben. I was just trying to figure out the layout of the app. This poor sod having to go through this screen recording.
Yeah,
like, what is she doing?
So I'd say, I think if we're looking, I think the upside that Pollock brings a super sub. I think if we take Ford out and then bring someone else in a 10 and then put Pollock as our super sub.
Okay. So, right, well then we've maxed out our French players as well.
Yeah.
So, who are we looking at for that 10? We've got Finn Russell again, we couldn't do Marcus Smith, Garbisi, Jalibert. Oh, we can't do the French.
God, BC scored
God,
pretty
this
well.
is really hard.
It's
isn't
really
it?
But this is the joy of fantasy, is the hours you spend picking someone and thinking you've solved the problem, and then being like, oh, I have to do the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to constantly go through revisions, and it never ends.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we've actually. Have we got any Irish in yet?
We got Sheehan.
We got Sheehan.
And didn't we go Burn?
Oh,
as
we
well?
have Burn
Yeah.
as well.
I'd say maybe, like we were saying, because 10s can be quite hit and miss. I think if we go BC, someone like that, just to lock him in,
Yeah.
and then
He's
freeze up the
in.
budget.
Okay, then we're going to go super sub Pollock. Nation England.
This is when you start to get those feelings where you're like, I haven't picked Menoncello.
Yeah.
How have I not picked Menoncello?
I was going to say, when you come back to the team, like, oh, and then it's always the case, whenever there's a 50-50 call,
yeah.
like you're looking at the English wingers, like, I'll go Feo, and then watch it, he'll have a quiet game,
Yeah, and the
Argyle
other
runs
winger
in
will
like 3
smash
tries.
it. Yeah. It's, it's the joy of it.
Okay, so now all we've got. Good spot.
Crack on.
So all we've got left now are the props. So we're back to the same issue in the sense of we've got, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we got three French players. How did that work? I swear we had 4 at one point. Did I say we had 4 at one point?
I think
think
we
so.
thought we did.
Or maybe I got confused with this. There's a lot of blue going on.
Oh, was it like an Italian in there?
Yeah. So ignore me. We've got an extra Frenchie. I probably need to stop saying French.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 4 English, 3 French, 2 Scottish, 2 Italian, 2 Irish, 1 Welsh. So apart from the English, we can basically choose any of the other teams. We're not maxed out there. Okay, right. Where's search filters, prop? Okay. Had we come to a decision earlier about what prop we were thinking?
I think we were just chucking out names, really.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the options there you've got, and because you don't be spending loads, and prop is quite a good position that if you're struggling a bit with the nations, you can kind of just pick from anyone. Like there's not massive differences player to player.
I think I picked Nicky Smith and Ferrari every week.
Yeah, just pass it
year.
then, isn't it?
Yeah, just throw them straight in.
Yeah. So I think yeah, maybe one of the Welsh props that we've got there would be a good option.
Right, I've got 25 and I've only... Okay. I'm torn between Nicky Smith and Thomas Francis.
Who's your heart telling you?
Nicky Smith's been playing good in the Prem. I'm going to go Nicky.
There we go.
Because we haven't seen Thomas Francis in a while in the Welsh shirt, so give him a bit of time to warm up, isn't it? Okay, fabulous. And then a final...
And we're saying about the French.
If we've got a spare French player, I want to go put him in the back line.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste him in the front row.
And then maybe, one of the Italian props, whether
Yeah.
we go with the likes of Fischetti or...
Oh, yeah, Fischetti's a good call. Because
exactly.
he gets involved, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He does a
he-
lot, makes
he
a
can
lot of
get-
tackles.
Especially with how he's
Yeah.
been playing for that Northampton
Oh,
Saints
yeah, he's
side.
been class, hasn't he?
So he could be a good option for
Yeah.
us.
Good job I'm facing this way, because I'd love to have had a zoom up on my concentration face for the entirety of this. Right, there he is. Oh, he's 12 years. Right, let's get him in.
So where does that leave us?
Fischetti locked in. So we have... Oh, God, where's that gone now?
It's going to be a brilliant screen record.
Oh, we've got to pick my captain. How do I do that?
Hang on, how many stars have we got left?
Oh, God, we've got 5 stars left.
So there is space to squeeze.
Could upgrade Wainwright. Or keep him.
You could upgrade Kyle Stain. Although I don't know. I don't know if you want to. You want to have one Scottish back, right? At least. You
Yeah,
wanna
I
have
feel like
some
you want
coverage for that game.
That's it. You want to have some stakes in each sort of...
This is the time where,
Olympic
if it was my team, I would just put Dupont in instead of Mitchell.
Can we still do that? 1, 2, 3. But then we'd have to get... Oh, no, we wouldn't.
No, and then you've got space for another English player if you want one. If you've got the budget, you could maybe put Genjin in the front row for a real fun pick.
Yeah,
if you
true.
wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Sorry, Mitchell, you're out. Oh, no, I've just put him as captain. Bloody hell. Remove
So are we
Mitchell.
going to say Mitchell out and then, everyone's favourite player DuPont in?
Yeah. I've already done it.
I think he's too good not to pick. But
I
I think Mitchell's a good option as well. Like the trouble with, especially with having to do it before all the team sheets are out, is you've got the entire field to pick from. So there's so many options for every position.
So I've only got 1 star left, but I feel like I'm happy with that, guys. Or do I have to max it out?
No,
You don't have to.
if you're happy
No.
with it,
No, I'm happy with it.
Yeah?
Should we go with the captain now?
go for it right.
Who do you think?
Because so if you pick a captain, all his points will be multiplied by 2.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to say it, I know I've said that about nearly all these things. As much and as good as Louis Bielbiare is, and his ceiling is unreal, I think someone like Faye Boso, we can't look past. The points that are on the table in that game, and like I said, the defender's beaten. He's going to be carving us up like Christmas turkey. I am happy. So he'd be my pick.
What you've got here is someone who's looking at the upside and someone who's been burned before and is thinking about a safer bet. Because the trouble with captaining a winger is like, yes, the ceiling is ridiculously high, but you're not guaranteed points. Like, what if they have a quiet game? I don't think I've ever seen Faye Boso have a quiet game. But what if they have a quiet game? This season, I'm going to be captaining back rowers.
Is it?
So I'm going to be captaining Earl probably in the first game. But they're like, it just depends on your appetite for risk.
Right, we've got a 50-50 call here.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm
So
a
you're
risk.
gonna have to
I'm
make
a
a
risk
choice.
taker.
Here we go.
Right, let's go for it. I'm most probably going to have egg on my face at the end of this.
I mean, if he scores a hat trick, you're going to be happy out. At least it'll make you feel a little bit better about who he's playing for.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go. Faye Boso, he's the captain. Right, locked in.
Yeah.
Love that.
you go for full run through?
Yes, let's do it. So, fullback, we have Louis Bielbiare. Then on the wing, we have Faye Boso, captain. And we have Stein.
Dangerous.
Yep.
Dangerous
Then-
back three.
We have the French centres. Do we? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So we got Deporté. Oh, God, no, I almost accidentally removed him. And Mafana. Brill. Okay, then we have Dupont, Garbisi, 9 and 10.
Like it.
Okay.
Second row, we got Ben Earl, Dempsey, Wainwright. Then we have as our locks Zambanine and Byrne.
Yep.
And then our props, we got Nikki Smith and Fischetti. And then our hooker is Sheehan.
I like it. The amount of people that are going to
Oh,
look
and
at
our
that.
super sub, none other than Henry Pollock.
Yeah.
Typical. The amount of people that are going to be looking at that back row call of Wainwright and say, oh, there's 2 Welsh people on that.
And if you haven't picked your fantasy picks yet, do not worry, you still have time. You have before kickoff on Thursday for the French and Irish players, and before kickoff for all the Saturday games for the rest of the teams. That is it for this week's episode. We will see you next Tuesday for more nonsense and most probably more wrong predictions.